Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your time off. Today, we're going to have a very brief discussion on the types of torts, and then we're going to briefly talk about deciding who to sue. So, there are three major types of torts. The first one is known as an intentional wrong. This is an action done with the intent of injuring a person, his or her property, or both. An example of this would be if Mary is angry at Tom and Mary decides to smash Tom's car windows. Well, Tom can sue Mary on the basis that she intentionally damaged his personal property. This is known as an intentional wrong. The second type of tort is known as negligence. This would be an unintentional tort. It occurs when a person's failure to use reasonable care causes a harm. An example of this would be a drunk driver who accidentally hits a pedestrian. The driver is negligent. Although the driver did not intend to harm the person, he or she acted unreasonably by driving while drunk. So the driver would be held liable for the harm caused to the pedestrian. And the third type of tort is known as strict liability. This is when a person is engaged in an activity so dangerous that there is a serious risk of harm, even if the person acts with the utmost care. An example of this would be a demolition company that is demolishing a building and one of the bricks falls on a passerby and injures that person. Although the company took all the necessary precautions, because the activity, the job was so dangerous, it still caused harm to the individual. So let's really quickly go back over the types of torts. You will need to know these for your upcoming quiz. So the first one is known as an intentional wrong. This is something that is done on purpose to harm a person or their property. The second type of tort is negligence. This is failure to use reasonable care and it results in the harm to a person or to their property. And then the third type of tort is known as strict liability. The wrong was not done on purpose, but the defendant was doing something so dangerous that harm could not be avoided or prevented. The next topic that we're going to discuss is deciding who to sue. Almost anyone can be sued. Individuals can be sued. Groups can be sued. Organizations can be sued. Businesses can be sued. Even units of government can be sued. And you can name several defendants in one lawsuit. Typically, plaintiffs try to sue a defendant who has enough money to pay for the damages. So they're looking for a defendant with deep pockets, meaning they have the ability to pay the judgment, they have the ability to pay the settlement. An example of this would be if you walk into a restaurant and the janitor has left a rag on the floor and you slip and you fall, you're not going to sue the janitor because more than likely the janitor cannot afford to pay the settlement. So you would sue the restaurant owner, and we call that person a person with deep pockets. Also, there's another term that you need to know. It is known as vicarious liability. That's when business owners can be held responsible for the actions of their employees. Not all people can be sued, and we call this immunity. So minors cannot be sued. There's a standard of care, and it's different for a 6-year old versus a 16-year old. And also, states they vary in parental responsibility laws. Also, states sometimes have a cap on how much can be paid in a lawsuit, especially in lawsuits where there's negligence. Most of the time in Illinois, the cap is $20,000 plus lawyer fees, and that was as of 2013. Also, federal, state government officials are immune from lawsuits. They can be sued for things not related to their jobs. There's also the Federal Tort Claim Act, Well, the federal government has waived their right to immunity. So the federal government can be sued for negligent acts or omissions by government employees, but they cannot be sued for intentional torts unless the intentional tort is a violation of a person's rights. Class actions lawsuits. We see these a lot in the media. We read about these. We see these on television. So a class action lawsuit is used when there are multiple plaintiffs. Many people are injured by the same event. This happens in towns and cities. It could be maybe the drinking water was contaminated. Maybe there was a company that polluted the water. Well, people come together and they put together a class action suit. So there are multiple plaintiffs that are suing because of one major event. Many times it's hundreds of people that may be injured. And when there's a class action suit, you get something in the mail to let you know that sometimes you don't even know that you are a part of a class action suit, but you have also been named in a suit because of a particular event. The settlement of damages is always divided among the plaintiffs. Here's another term that I think is really important and you need to know for your quiz as well. It's called contingency fee. We talked about this earlier in the semester, but this is when an attorney gets a percentage of the settlement. So what we're going to do next is have you please get your textbook. Remember to bring those to class each and every day. And I'm going to have you do really two short problems today. And this should be done by the end of the class period. You're going to go to page number 220 and you're going to do problem 18.3, which includes questions A, B, and C. And then you're going to go to page 224 and do problem 18.5, which is A, B, C, D. And all the instructions are there. There's also a document on Google Classroom for you to complete the problems and turn it in for a grade. Remember to bring your textbook to class each day. And remember, we're going to have our very last quiz. I have immensely enjoyed this class. You guys are phenomenal, and I'm kind of sad to see it coming to an end, but I'm wishing you the best as you go forward in your college careers. So bring your class books each day. We have just maybe 2 more lessons, and then we're going to wrap up with this nice video, this nice movie called Runaway Jury, and that will be the end of our semester here in law class. So look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great school day.